Today, we're going to talk about the book on my bookshelf that upsets people in my comments the most, and that book is Blender Babies. I don't know if it's the premise of the book, the name, the picture, or all of the above, but when people see this on my shelf, they get really upset and angry that it even exists. And I finally read it, so I thought we could talk about it. The book basically follows a family in a post apocalyptic world where putting babies in blenders and drinking them is like a super addictive drug that once you've done it once, you need to do it again and again and again, and it gets better every time. So, of course, people with newborn babies all go into hiding and kind of group together with other families and hunker down and try to survive. Honestly, the main thing that I will say about this book, and it's not a sentence that I ever thought I would say, but I did think that there would be a lot more babies in blenders than there actually were. I think in the whole book, it maybe happens like 3 times, if that. There's not a lot of it, and it's one of the questions I get asked the most about the book is how bad that actually is. And honestly, it's not bad. I think the book itself kind of reads more like an action horror rather than an extreme horror. Definitely, if it was people rather than babies, I would put it in just action horror. I actually think the worst scene in this book, and I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it, but if you have read it, I will just call the scene Pick a Pepper and you'll know what I mean. I think the worst scene in the book isn't actually anything to do with blenders or babies. Generally, I think it was quite a good book. It was enjoyable to read. It did have like a good amount of action in it, so it felt quite fast paced. It wasn't as gory as I expected, considering the actual premise of the book. And honestly, I think one of the main things that I had an issue with is just the never ending amount of baby formula and warm water that the family seemed to have, and that there was no kind of representation of the fact that babies can and do breastfeed, and that probably would happen in that situation. It just didn't exist. And I'm not one who feels like extreme horror needs to be super accurate or anything like that, but like I said, it kind of reads as more of an action horror. So it was definitely something that I noticed didn't happen and would have made sense if it did happen. But all in all, I think it was a really good book. I'm definitely glad I read it. And I've had a few people ask if it's really as bad as it sounds. And honestly, I think you should just read it and give it a go and see what you think. But definitely check the trigger warnings before you do.